The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer, the sports talk, and a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinski as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversations going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get in. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at righteousfelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky. Well, Righteous Felon jerky, go to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code BELLYUP for the best and get 15% off the best in-craft beef jerky in the United States of America. And thoughts go out to people down in New Orleans for that. It's crazy, like that craziness that happened down there yesterday. Or last night, I guess, with the truck running into the crowd. It's just nuts that stuff happens. And it's hard to explain, but I don't want to say thoughts and prayers, but the thoughts and everything else. It's just crazy. Just that stuff happens, and we're in the year 2025. There's still that much hate and anger in the world. It's no politics, no politics here at the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. Anyways, steaming pile of crap number 2 that happened on New Year's Eve 2024 to wrap the year up was the Winter Classic, and it isn't really a classic anymore. I get it. The crowds seem to like it. The people who like it who are in the building at Wrigley they really dressed it up yesterday. I've been there 2017, I think it was. And it's a great venue. Transforming into a hockey game was probably fantastic. The crowd seemed into it. The guys on TNT, they seemed into it. The crowd, but the one problem that they had is that the Blackhawks weren't into it. The NHL made a mistake of having it in Chicago, but didn't have, at Wrigley's great, at Chicago's great, but having the Blackhawks involved isn't great. That's a bad hockey team, 32nd out of 32 teams in the National Hockey League. I think it's just 6 losses in a row, and even the players were embarrassed. Yesterday, Connor Bedard, he was visibly down, shaken and stirred about how that all turned out to be, and it just didn't work out for them at all. An awful display by the Hawks. He was upset. Say people pay really good money for these tickets, and we got dog walked. Taylor Hall, he was the same way. He felt awful, but the people had to watch that. He felt awful the way that the team came out. He said it was embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to even say that we even were out there. And Foligno said the same thing basically. And the Chicago Blackhawks are in a bad spot right now. And I kind of said that a couple of years ago when they took Bedard first overall. I was like, Jesus, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Yesterday's loss was not his fault, but I said it before and I'll say it again. When you're small in stature like he is, and he's going to a team with that's bloody awful, this is the outcome I kind of expected out of the Blackhawks. They're a lot of years away from being effective. A lot of years away, because that was a bad display yesterday. And you put in an effort like that. It would be tough playing at home in that kind of situation. The ticket requests and everything else, and family and stuff you're expected to do. So there is a bit of an excuse there for sure. But it just didn't. You got to get past that stuff. You're a professional hockey player, and the circus of it all probably weighs on you. But you're a professional hockey player. You got to go out there for 60 minutes. They didn't come out for 5. It was just a bad showing by the Blackhawks, a bad hockey team, and St. Louis isn't a whole bunch better. But I read today, because that's the Hawks. It's their 5th time in the Winter Classic, and they're 0-5. Right, so that's just something about the Blackhawks playing in outdoor games. They got one win in one of those stadium series games, but in the Winter Classics, they were 0-5. And the Winter Classic, I don't understand why it was yesterday. There was 13 other NHL games yesterday. Yeah, they had them on different times, and they weren't cross overlapped or anything. But it was it didn't make a whole bunch of sense to have that game on yesterday. There was only one NHL game on New Year's Day. And I don't think you're competing with eyeballs. I know the college football playoff is huge, and there's lots of eyeballs on that. But I don't think you're competing with eyeballs. A hockey fan's a hockey fan, and a college football fan's a college football fan. Like you're dividing eyeballs, and you're not giving it a chance to even succeed. So how many people that could have watched it yesterday maybe were hockeyed out by that point, because the Leafs even played at noon, and there's a bunch of afternoon games. There was games even last night, so maybe people had different viewing habits yesterday. And for the NHL to have that game yesterday, it didn't make any sense when there's only the one game today. It hasn't even been played yet. I think it's later on tonight with the Kings and the Devils, the surprising New Jersey Devils. But I don't understand why that game was on yesterday, like in the Winter Classic. So maybe the NHL's kind of had their belly full of it too. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. And why the hell? Like I this one I don't understand. The Smashing Pumpkins, they're not exactly the most enthusiastic and uplifting band of all time. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. It sounds like they're pretty depressing. And to have them opening up for this big event, it seemed a little bit odd to me. I don't know what song they played, so maybe I should be speaking out of turn. But the Smashing Pumpkins were never one of my favorites, and to have them on TV trying to get the crowd pumped up at a hockey game, I don't know if it was probably the best of ideas. It might have been great, but from what I remember of the Smashing Pumpkins back in the mid to late '90s, they weren't the most enthusiastic group. Billy Corgan with his bald head, he wasn't getting me motivated per se, I guess is one way of putting it. And then Chance the Rapper in between periods. I don't know what I wouldn't know a Chance the Rapper song if it was playing in my ears right now. So it's just kind of funny that was the musical choices of the day. I don't know. Maybe they're both from Chicago, but it just seemed to be an odd look for the hockey demographic yesterday. It was just odd. Should this game be played? The people seem to like it. They say that it's in, and I guess if your team's in it, good enough. But I think this thing's kind of run its course. They won't get rid of it. It draws up a pretty good TV crowds, draws up good crowds in the buildings. They're always sold out. I'm sure the tickets aren't cheap, so they're not going to get rid of it. But I thought it was oversaturated a few years ago when they did have that Stadium Series thing. I thought that was a pretty bad look. It's too bad you can't foresee what your team's going to be, how bad their team's going to be. Because I'm sure that these Winter Classics, they're planned a year in advance, right? So they're probably starting plan for the next one today. So you don't know where the team's going to be this time next year. You could kind of foresee that Chicago's going to be bad, but maybe Fenway or Wrigley Field, just overshadows how bad the hockey team is there in Chicago. But it's a thing. It's on. It doesn't hurt anybody. Probably doesn't help a ton anymore. It's kind of neat to do one in Florida. They're talking about maybe a little bit with Tampa and the Florida Panthers. Maybe that would be a different scene, because they did that one in LA a few years back. It was 60 some degrees, and they pulled it off, and it was the ice making crew did a really good job. But it's interesting to see how it all goes. But it's a different look. It's that Chicago team's poor. And what do you do? Like, you can't trade anybody. You can't just shake things up. Like, what do you do? It's just something that's not going to turn out very well for the fans in Chicago, and it's just and to try to sell your team. And that's the thing. Like, you're trying to sell that team and that franchise to the public, and and these tickets are astronomical, and the souvenirs are astronomical, and you just throw out a steaming pile of crap like they did yesterday. They didn't do themselves any favors. Like, the Chicago Blackhawks did not do their franchise any favors yesterday by the way they played. You aren't going to get people to go to the United Center. You're just not. People, they tuned them out years ago when they were before winning Stanley Cups. If you remember that, it's probably going to be the same way now with the Blackhawks. People be like, you know what, I'm good. I just dropped $500 to watch my team get smoked 6-2. I'm good for the rest of the year. I'm not going back to watch that, because people don't pay money to watch the home team lose, and that's just fact. And so, just one of those things. Anyways, that's the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 Beer Sports Talk and a whole lot more for this first day of January 2025. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Support our sponsors over at SeatGeek and Righteous Felon Jerky. Go to bellyupsports.com. Check out all their great articles. Check out the 1420 Sports Bar.com as well for some ramblings and different articles I got going on over there. That's show number 1 of 2025. Thank you very much for all of those who listen. And hey, remember, it doesn't matter where you are. it's who you're with. Have a great night, and we will talk to you again tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.